be honest, this does feel kind of like self-indulgent for me just to sit here and answer questions about myself, but I've had this channel for over a year and I think it's time for some more casual, chill vibes. Hi everyone, welcome to this video. On my channel, I usually analyze song lyrics very in depth through the lens of literary analysis. However, today I guess we're gonna be analyzing me. The analysis that was supposed to go up today, the file got like corrupted or damaged or something. I honestly don't really know what happened. It was very sad and dramatic. It's fine. I still wanted to get a video up this weekend. I gave you guys two options of videos that would not take me that long to edit, a Q&A or something I call lyric roulette, where you guys would submit one or two lyrics from random songs and I would analyze just those lyrics. A majority of you guys on YouTube voted for lyric roulette. However, on Instagram, you guys really preferred a Q&A. So today we're gonna do the Q&A, and since there was so much interest in the lyric roulette, I will still make that video in the coming weeks. So I took all your questions and I organized them by categories. My Virgo rising energy just can't not do that. So let's get started. A lot of you guys understandably wanted to know if I have like an English degree or a degree in literature. You also just wanted to know about my educational background and the job I have outside of YouTube. So I'm trying to make this like dramatic and interesting. But to answer your question, no, I do not have an English degree or a literature degree. I'm not like an English teacher or anything like that. I have a bachelor's of science in biology. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell vibes, which has like literally nothing to do with this channel. So if you have questions about like cells or like the mitochondria, leave them below, I guess. Or not. I really do love science. I think it's very interesting. That's why I chose to study it and get my degree in it. However, English and literature, just really existing within words, is something that really nourishes my soul. I think of it like this, like my heart is in the sciences. I really, like I said, enjoy learning about scientific concepts. However, my soul likes to exist within words. And I will say that English and literary analysis, all of those sorts of things, the thought processes and the approach you have to do those sorts of things, that definitely comes more intuitively to me than the sciences. I had to study really, really hard to understand any scientific concept. I had to study a lot more than my friends, and it was very, very difficult. Naturally, my brain likes to think about like abstract things, about ambiguous things, about kind of like the things we talk about on this channel. I don't mind talking about things that are intangible. I actually prefer that. However, when you study like scientific concepts, when you're learning organic chemistry and physics, I do not like physics at all. I'm so sorry. I'm like triggered right now that I even said the word physics. I literally have been like actively blocking that out. Subjects like that, they do require you to approach it differently, and it was not something that came naturally to me. Now you may be wondering if it was like so difficult for me to study, you may be wondering why I decided to get my degree in it. And that's because I loved like the end product of studying. I hated the process of studying science until I figured out how to do it. Like literally right before I graduated, it's when I finally figured it out. Once I understood a concept, it was like the sweetest thing, and it was so satisfying, and it was so interesting how everything like came together perfectly. I really view that sort of thing as artistry existing within science. Whenever I would get to that point where I would finally understand something, like that high was so sweet and so great that it kind of validated me like staying in that program. The reason that this is a literary analysis channel is because English has always been my favorite subject in school. I remember in high school when we had to write like literary analyses papers or comparative literature papers, I had like the most existential high from writing those things. Like I was like so happy, I was so excited. It seemed like important work to me for some reason. I don't even know how to effectively describe this, but like whenever I would exist within words, whether it was for class, whether I was like doing my own writing or anything, it felt like it was just like existentially important. My soul was like fluttering and happy, and I was like, I need to do this. Like this is very important. And when I felt like I needed to do it, it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I have to do this as a career or I have to do this in a public setting. It was just personal and intimate. I've learned that within my life, no matter what I do in my career, I need to exist within words somehow, whether it's writing, whether it's like reading more, which I need to read more. That's a whole nother conversation, but that's part of why this channel exists. Someone asked how I got good at analyzing lyrics. I don't know for sure. Honestly, I don't know. It's something that like just is more intuitive to me. You know how most people have like that one thing that they're like decent at? To me, it's this. To me, it's just viewing things very metaphorically and just doing whatever I do on this channel. It's like the one thing that I genuinely feel like I'm really intuitive at. And I'm not saying that I'm like the greatest or anything, but it's like where I feel comfortable and it's something that I really, really enjoy. A few of you wanted to know what I do as my job. Right now, I actually just have like a random job in a random field. It's an administrative role. That's because of the pandemic. So right before the pandemic, I was taking extra classes. I had already graduated, but I at that time was considering applying to graduate programs and I wanted to make myself more competitive, so I was taking some like extra classes just to add to my application. And I was also working. March 2020 happened. For a good portion at the beginning of the pandemic, I wasn't working just due to the effects of the pandemic. I think a lot of us can relate to this. The pandemic really shifted a lot of life plans for a lot of people to varying degrees and varying intensities. I definitely have a different perspective now than I did back then. I value different things as well, and my perspective has shifted a little bit. I've gotten to know myself in a different way as well. So I'm still trying to figure that out. There were some questions about my YouTube channel specifically. Someone asked, how did you come up with the idea to start your channel? My first video on this channel was posted in April 2020. I didn't plan to start my channel. One day I was just like lying on my bed. I was listening to King of My Heart by Taylor Swift. I love that song so much. I love the bridge of that song. Sometimes when I was bored and I was doodling, I would just write out the bridge to King of My Heart. Is this the end of all the endings? All my broken bones are mending. I'm not gonna say the rest, don't worry. I realized how much I missed existing within words and just feeling words and sitting with words. And so I Googled the lyrics, I screenshotted it, and I started writing notes all over it on my iPad, just lying on my bed, writing some notes. I was like, I want to talk about this. I really want to talk about this, especially the bridge. I feel so many feelings and I have so many things I want to say, and I ended up recording my first YouTube video. You know, I had wanted to do something like that, to like be on camera and to create content since like, no joke, since like 2010. I would always try, not necessarily like a YouTube channel, but I would always try to like find a way to do something and like learn to film or learn to edit, and it would always fall through. Literally every time it would always fall through. So like in 2010 for school, I wanted to do like this project and it would require me to like be on camera. It was like legit for like a school project, and I planned to film stuff and it was gonna be like cute or whatever. I was still like a kid, but like whatever, it was gonna be cute. But then that kind of fell through. They were like, no, you can't do a video, just do like a normal project. And I was really bummed about that. And then later on at university, there were 2 summers where I was like, I don't care if it's gonna be extra work. I want to try to take like a summer class in things I'm interested in. One of them was like a videography class. And then the second summer that I tried to take an extra class, it was like a digital arts or digital media class. It was gonna teach you like graphic design and like maybe Photoshop, things like that, like very beginner stuff. And both years the classes got canceled. And I was so sad. I took it really hard because it's something I really wanted to do, and for some reason I didn't think I could teach myself. I like really thought I needed to take a class for it and to have it be like legit, and I was like, this is a sign that I should just like not even try to do anything that doesn't have to do with my major. I was like, girl, you barely know what F equals MA means. From physics. I was like, girl, you need to just concentrate on that. Like, don't worry about like camera stuff and editing stuff, like stop. So I really took it as a sign because it happened in 2 different years. You know, my point is that I didn't plan to make an analysis channel, but I'd always wanted to film things and edit things, and I had really missed existing within words, and those 2 things were kind of like brewing for me, right? So those kind of came together. So that's a very long answer to your question about how I started my YouTube channel. Someone asked, do you have a favorite artist that you have not analyzed on this channel? So I've actually filmed quite a few analyses that I've never posted to this channel, just due to tech issues, or just I didn't like how they turned out, or I didn't think anyone would want to like necessarily watch them. I really love the band Third Eye Blind, especially their first album. I had at one point filmed an analysis of their song Motorcycle Drive-By. I love that whole album. No skips at all. It was their self-titled album. So that's a song that like I love a lot. There is another song by them called God of Wine. It has this verse where it says, hold on, let me, just kidding, I'm not gonna sing it. I need to like think for a second. Every glamorous sunrise throws the planets out of line. A star sign out of whack. A fraudulent zodiac. I love those lyrics so much. Like, you guys, I don't know if you guys feel the same way that I feel. I love those lyrics, and I just really like the lyricism that Third Eye Blind songs have. And I also just really love the guitar. There's a lot of electric guitar, and I don't know like the term for it. I don't know. I don't think it's a riff. I have no idea. Whatever they do with their guitars in Third Eye Blind songs, especially on this album that I'm referring to, it's like a transcendental experience. And I'm not being hyperbolic, I'm being so serious. In my opinion, whatever the guitar does needs to be its own literary device because it's so emotive. Like, if you like electric guitar, listen to this album. I will post the album cover here so you know what it is. Listen to it. Preferably if you're driving on a very sunny day, or if it's at night and all the lights are turned off and you're lying on your bed. Genuinely transcendent. Favorite song off of Reputation, King of My Heart. I also really love Delicate. I think it's such a cute song, and I love Dancing with Our Hands Tied. It's such an intricate song. I feel like we need to hype it more. What is your favorite song by Harry Styles? To be honest, I don't listen to Harry Styles super often, but when I do, I usually listen to Falling. I think that's my favorite Harry Styles song as of right now. I also like Golden and Sunflower, and sometimes Sweet Creature. What kind of music do you listen to, or what is your favorite type of music? So I really gravitate towards alternative music as like my default setting. I view like Taylor Swift as her own genre. I've been listening to Taylor Swift since I found her on MySpace, so what, like 2007-ish, 2008. So I love Taylor Swift. I always have an album of hers on rotation. So just Taylor Swift as like a genre, I always love like so much. I like a lot of songs with acoustic guitar that are kind of folky, where I can really listen to the lyrics. Always listen to MySpace songs, which are pop punk songs from like 2007, 2008. It's just nostalgic and I just enjoy it. So yeah. Who's your favorite singer? Taylor Swift. Favorite album of all time and why? That's a very difficult question. I'll give you two answers. I'll give you my favorite album that I don't listen to that often, but it's like very much on a pedestal for me. So one of my favorite albums of all time is called Dusk and Summer from Dashboard Confessional. This came out, I think, in like 2006, 2007. I like remember the night that I bought it. I bought it from a Barnes & Noble, which is a bookstore. I bought like the physical CD, and then my life changed. The band Dashboard Confessional, if you're not familiar, they're considered an emo band. There's a lot of acoustic guitar. It's very mellow, it's very chill, it's very emotional. So it may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I love Dashboard Confessional, especially the Dusk and Summer album and the So Impossible EP. Look up that EP, it's really good. But there's a lyric in one of those songs that changed my life. It widened my perspective towards words and just like life. I actually analyzed the song on this channel. It was the second video I did. It's the song So Long, So Long. And what's funny is that the lyric that changed my life was actually sung as a background vocal. The lyric is, I was certain that the season could be held within my arms. That may not seem significant to a lot of you, but when I tell you that lyric changed my life, I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm being very genuine. For me, when I was listening to it, I was a kid, right? And I was like shook. I found it so incredibly interesting that the season of summer was being held in the arms of a person. This season, which is something intangible, something that is part of the setting, is being described in a tangible way, in a way that seems like you can touch it. I just thought that concept of something intangible being referred to in a tangible way was so incredibly interesting. Ever since I heard that lyric and I had that realization, I have viewed everything so incredibly differently. Like, I can't even explain to you. So that's one of my favorite albums of all time, and I don't listen to it super often just because it's very nostalgic and I get in my feels a lot. Only when I'm prepared to feel a lot of feels, that's when I listen to that album. And my favorite album that I listen to regularly, this is hard too. I think it would have to be Folklore by Taylor Swift. It used to be Speak Now by Taylor Swift, which I still love a lot, but Folklore has taken over. It's so distinct. The lyricism is wild. It's beautiful. So is Evermore, but I think the shock value of Folklore, of us not expecting it to be what it was, I think that's kind of why I'm like more partial towards Folklore. because it was like, what? Like we were like, I was so shook when it came out. I think all of us were, and I just adored it. Another reason that I say folklore is because of two songs. August. The feelings that I feel when I listen to August, I can't explain to you. And it's mostly due to the instrumentals. Like, go watch my analysis. I love that song so much. And also the song The Lakes, one of my favorite songs. Those two songs are what make me pick folklore as like my favorite album. Chef's kiss. Also, this question was submitted, but it doesn't really fit into a category, but someone asked me if I'm Team Edward or Team Jacob, and this was honestly the most important question, so thank you so much. I'm obviously Team Jacob, hands down. Someone asked, have you ever or would you ever write songs yourself? I don't know. I've never really considered writing a song. I definitely enjoy writing, but when I write, I usually write prose or like the type of poetry that doesn't rhyme, which to me is still prose. So I'm not sure. But then again, like as the wise philosopher Justin Bieber has said, never say never. Do you write poems or songs? I don't really write poems. Again, I just write prose. Although when I was a teenager, I wrote really angsty poems that were really, really bad, as one does. What type of advice would you give to an early literature learner? So again, I haven't been like a proper like English student since like high school because I literally took one English class when I was at university. This is just intuitive advice. So I just want to preface that. I think when you're talking about literature, if you're talking about like analysis or understanding like literary terms, my advice would be to be very patient with yourself and to be patient with the work. Whenever I approach an analysis, I do view it as like its own like living body of work. I always respect it. And I always just come to it in like a very calm and chill way. I think there's a difference with approaching like something to analyze and you're like, I'm gonna figure you out, da 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 da. It's different than sitting down and really like listening and trying to understand. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, comment below and I'll try to clarify. The last piece of advice I would have, try to read as much as you can and read different styles, read different genres, read different authors, obviously, and try to read authors that have a different tone, who write in different ways. Remember what I said earlier about that dashboard confessional lyric that widened my perspective? It only takes like one sentence to do that for you, right? So if you're actively always reading something, you're more likely to come across something that widens your perspective. All right, that is gonna be the end of this Q&A. Thank you to everyone who submitted a question. I hope that you found my answers at least semi-interesting. If you have any other questions for me, feel free to comment them down below. If there are enough, I would be down to do a second Q&A sometime in the future. Like I mentioned earlier, I do plan on making that lyric roulette video, so feel free to comment some more lyrics down below. My socials are linked down below as well. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it and to subscribe if you haven't already, if you want. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!